Hi, hello. My name is Chris.
I'm Silas.
My name is Chao.
I'm Harry Ahmed.
My name is Claudio and I'm a second-year student
at the
Schaar Lab.
Hi, I'm Harry. I'm a second-year PhD student at the Schaar Lab. This is my work in conjunction with some collaborators at LMU Munich and some other students at the lab, which investigates how to generate and evaluate tabular synthetic data for medical purposes. Typically, the kind of analysis that will be conducted on medical tabular data will be causal inference, which is really important that the causal links between the covariates, treatments and outcomes are respected in the data set so that they can be analysed well. Typical generation methods don't focus on this use case, and we develop a set of desiderata for this kind of synthetic data to have, and then we establish some metrics and a generation method to improve the generation and evaluation of synthetic data in this setting.
Hi, my name is Chao, and my poster here is called Semantic KG Using Knowledge Graphs to Construct Benchmarks for Measuring Semantic Similarity. And the one sentence TLDR I would give for this poster is that we use some knowledge graphs and we perturb them to act as a ground truth for measuring semantic similarity, and we benchmark a bunch of LLMs on doing that.
Hi, my name is Claudio, and in my paper I'm trying to address the problem of deciding between a cheap but not particularly smart large language model or a large but more expensive model, or finally, should we abstain in total and leave a decision to make to a human expert? In our paper, we demonstrate that with our cascaded framework, we are able to outperform all the single models.
Hello, I'm Silas. I'm a research student at the Schaar Lab, and I'm excited to present ACTMed to you. This work is all about modeling clinical diagnosis as a sequential Bayesian decision-making process. This helps us develop frameworks that are more aligned with how clinicians actually diagnose patients, rather than the static predictions clinical ML models currently usually issue.
Okay, hello, my name is Chris, and I'm a first-year PhD student with the Schaar Lab. In the past life, I was a medical doctor, and therefore I'm now inspired to have a look about this question, where the question is whether LLMs can reason like doctors, or whether there are some fundamental limitations. So this is part of the dataset and benchmark track poster, and what we essentially did was set up around 1,000 clinical case reports, and then we basically did a multi-turn benchmark to test whether language models can actually diagnose questions. So the reason why we wanted to do this in the first place is because currently all of the benchmarks is only a single turn. So, and also most importantly, they have the full complete information. Whereas in real life clinical practice, what happens is you need to actually, as a doctor, you only have an initial picture. And over time, you kind of, you review a patient, you ask them questions, and then you do investigations. But most importantly, a lot of these might be missing. And the question is, can you reason under uncertainty over a long horizon and incomplete information that you actively gather for in order to form a diagnosis? So that's the main research motivation for this paper. And then, we had a data set created, and then with the results is what's interesting. Because firstly, what we found out is if we give models the full picture, the full information, they can diagnose properly. They have no problems in giving you the right answer. But when you ask them to ask questions in order to find the right answer, you can see there's around a 60% gap. It's quite significant. It means that they are able to answer questions if you give them the full answer. But then when they ask you to actually find questions, they can't. And this is an illustrative example. Left side is a failure, and right side is a success. What happens here is this is what the models actually get. You have a 65-year-old male, for example, came in with some abdominal symptoms. And then afterwards, you ask for, the model here got caught essentially in these abdominal symptoms, and they thought it was a cholecystitis. Whereas in fact, it's actually an inferior myocardial infarction, so a heart attack, which sometimes masks as abdominal symptoms. And this is what we actually, so with the qualitative analysis where we looked at over 10,000 of these traces, with LLM, we also did some quantitative analysis as to why. And there are two main reasoning problems. One is what we call anchoring bias. So because of the initial presentation, they kind of get stuck and they kind of unable to go beyond their initial hypothesis. And the other is that they are too happy to finish early. So as long as they have one initial diagnosis, they will stop and then that's it. And interestingly, those are also cognitive biases that reflect human cognitive biases in clinical practice. But lastly, we can see here there's basically close to no correlation between how confident they are and how correct they are. And a lot of the times they're either confidently wrong or they're just not very sure, but they're actually right. So this is what we consider is the uncertain decision boundaries within LLMs. So essentially what are the takeaway points here is that right now, LLMs, at least from this benchmark, we've demonstrated that they encode clinical knowledge. It's a known fact. They know what's up if you give them the full picture. But when you actually ask them to ask questions, they can't ask the right questions. And this is not just for AI agents or medical AI agents, but I think in general, it really highlights some inherent limitations towards using LLMs itself as agents. But nonetheless, we hope that this would be a contribution towards further developing proper medical AI agents that can not only have knowledge, but also are capable of reasoning. This is a summary and this is the data set. And thank you.